Hello, and welcome to this update on the 2015 Card Player Player of the Year race, sponsored by CarbonPoker. I'm Diana Cox, and I'm here to bring you a look at some of the events that had the biggest impact on the POI race this month. The new year on the poker tournament circuit once again started with a bang down in the Bahamas. The 12th annual PokerStars Caribbean Adventure once again proved to be one of the largest and most impactful series of the year in terms of the POI points awarded. Things kicked off with the $100,000 Super High Roller event, which drew a record field of 66 total entries. In the end, Steve O'Dwyer emerged victorious, taking home nearly $1.9 million and 720 POI points for the win. He currently sits in 18th place in the overall standings as a result. Next up was the Latin American Poker Tour $3,000 main event, which attracted 736 players in its first year at the PCA. Josh K came out on top with $367,928, 1,368 points, and the title, moving into 5th in the POI ranks. The PCA set yet another record when the $25,000 high roller drew a field of 269 entries, the most in that tournament's history. Azerbaijan's Ilkin Garibli came out on top to earn over $1.1 million and 1,512 points, climbing to 4th place on the POI leaderboard as a result. While all of these events were huge successes in 2015, the centerpiece of the whole affair was once again the PCA $10,300 main event. A total of 816 players turned out this year, meaning that eventual champ Kevin Scholes walked away with nearly $1.5 million and 2,280 POI points. The 26-year-old poker pro now holds the outright lead in the POI race and has a good chance of remaining a threat throughout the year, seeing as 6 out of the past 7 PCA champs finished inside the top 20 in the POI standings at year's end. Floridian poker pro Chance Kornuth finished 3rd in the PCA main event for $641,140 and 1,520 POI points, which catapulted him into 3rd place in the overall standings. Kornuth has had a great 12 months on the circuit, making a WPT final table and winning the Bellagio Cup last year before coming to the PCA to notch his largest live tournament cash with his 3rd place score. Card Player's tournament content manager Eric Fast caught up with the 26-year-old poker pro to discuss his deep run in the Bahamas, his solid year on the circuit, and more.
Hey Chance, thanks for joining us. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
Doing really good, man. Thank you. So you started 2015 off with a top 3 finish, one of the biggest events of the year, earning a big 6-figure score. Must be a pretty good way to begin a new year down in the Caribbean, huh?
Yeah, it's a great way. It was like a last-minute trip. I got there at 9 a.m. the morning of 1B, and it worked out great.
Can you talk a little bit about the whole experience of everything? I mean, that's a pretty wild tournament down there for people who haven't been to the PCA. You know, the resort is huge. There's, you know, water slides and everything, and then the tournament's one of the biggest of the year, like I said, too. So can you just talk a little bit about how that whole thing went down?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I played it a couple of times before. I never really had any success in it, but lately I've been doing well in tournaments and just decided to give myself every chance for a big score that I could. And I'm going to travel around a lot and play a lot of the 10Ks and stuff like that. And decided to go down there, and it was a great experience. Everyone's down there, you get to see a ton of your friends, and everyone's partying. If you bust, you get to be at the Bahamas, so it's awesome.
Yeah, so as you said, 3 of your 4 largest live tournament scores have come within the last 12 months. What do you attribute this success to? Sometimes people say, I definitely did figure something out. Sometimes, obviously there's a lot of variance in tournament poker. Why have you been doing so well in live tournaments the past year, in your estimation?
Well, I'm sure that some factor is luck and some factor is skill, and I've definitely been doing some things to play well, and I've been running amazing in big pots. I actually got it all in with just an open-ender versus another flush draw, with 40 people to the money and just being so straight and held, and then, so obviously, a lot of it is luck, and, so you just got to keep chugging along.
So, as a poker pro, how much of your energy is devoted to the tournament circuit? And if I understand correctly, you also play a lot of cash games as well. Is that right?
Yeah, it's difficult because I see the longevity of poker declining, and so I just want to put in as much volume and make as much money off of it as I can. And so I have a big game here in Florida. I try to play 3 days a week. It's like a private game. And then I try to travel around all the WPTs and anything that's going to have more than a 200K first place and has a good opportunity. And just trying to balance all that with life and my new fiance and planning our wedding. And it's been a very busy time.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you about that. Not only did you have a good year in live tournaments, but you also got engaged and you proposed to her at the Great Wall of China. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, for Christmas, Emily had gotten me a trip to China, and I knew that, you know, the next 4 months we were going, and I just decided that I was going to propose while we were there on the Great Wall, and so we went, and I had the ring with me for, like, I don't know, like 10 days of being there before we actually went to the Great Wall, so there was a lot of anticipation and trying to figure out, like, what I was going to say and how I was going to ask, but it was really fun.
That's awesome, man. That's really good news. That's exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the PCA main event, one of the biggest tournaments of the year. From our Player of the Year perspective, it awards some of the most points for any one event outside of something like the WSOP main event. Over the past couple years, people who have won or finished in the top 3 are always in the mix in our Player of the Year race throughout the year. You know, as a poker professional, your job is to make money, but something like this is just kind of fun to think about. Do you think that if you make a couple other scores, you might kind of start changing your schedule a little bit to chase something like a Player of the Year award?
Well, I mean, I would definitely consider reaching for some of those things with a name like Chance and, like, trying to have the, you know, ability to win that. The poker player's dream is to be sponsored, to play, you know, to get paid or have free buy-ins or any version of like that. And so it's definitely, like, part of the dream is to, like, chase the illusion of, like, sponsorships, and obviously Player of the Year would be, like, a huge step in order to get one of those.
That's awesome, man. So, what are your plans for the tournament circuit in the immediate future? Where's your next big trip to?
I have like a 6 a.m. flight on the 25th of this month to go to Borgata. I'm going to come home and play the WPT Lucky Hearts. Then I have a wedding in Colorado and wedding planning in Chicago, and that's like pretty much the rest of my February. And then in March I have the Bay 101 is the only one of the California swing stops I have time for. Then I have my grandma's 80th birthday. And then back to Florida for the series they have here, and then Borgata WPT Championship, and then the World Series. So I do have a pretty booked up schedule, and just trying to find time for everything else that life has.
Awesome, man. Well, congrats again on the good past year, the good start to 2015, and thank you so much for talking to us today.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Outside of the PCA, the poker series to make the biggest impact on the POY standings so far has been the WSOP circuit at Choctaw. The main event there drew a huge 1,363-player turnout, with champ Jose Montez earning over $350,000 and 960 points for his win. He now sits in 10th place in the POY rankings. Speaking of which, here's a look at the current top 10 in the POY standings. Looking ahead, there are several huge tournament series on the horizon that are sure to shake up the POY standings, with the largest events of the Aussie Millions getting underway, and the WPT Borgata Winter Poker Open also kicking off as January winds down. That's it for this edition of the 2015 Card Player of the Year Race Update, brought to you by CarbonPoker. We'll see you next month.